Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is Abiv, and today we are going to be going over a Stamina Nightblade. I've promised some new builds coming through. This is an Update 40 build, which I think is still going to be pretty viable in Update 41 as well. If I need to make a new video when that happens here in a couple weeks, I definitely will. But I have chosen Khajiit for this build, mainly because I already had a Khajiit. Dark Elf or Orc is definitely going to be a higher damage output, especially on your parses. But the Khajiit is, second right behind both of those, third right behind both of those, however you want to describe it. But Khajiit gets nice passives with health, magicka, and stamina, and 10% more critical damage done. And then when you mix that with Nightblades doing 10% more critical damage done on their own as well, it's rarely really easy to get to the crit cap. It's actually easy to go over the crit cap, so you got to pay attention to what you're doing. To look at the stats here, we do have all 64 points in our stamina. We are, let's buff ourselves up with a potion real quick. Uh, Weapon and spell damage is 5511, weapon criticals at 56.4, penetration is at 3674, and max magicka 19,000, almost 20k. Maximum stamina 28,000, maximum health 24,000. So we got a lot of health, a lot of stamina. Health recovery and stamina recovery are both really good as well because we are using um, the Bewitched Sugar Skulls that you see right here. This is just max health, max stamina, and max magicka food that adds some recovery in also. We are using the Thief Mundus Stone, and because I don't have any way to give myself major savagery or major brutality already on my bars with this build, I am using the uh, Essence of Weapon Power pots. This is your major brutality, major savagery, stamina, and stamina recovery. These are pretty important because we are not using a recovery food, so we're using these to help keep our recovery up. If you do run across problems having trouble sustaining during fights or during parses and whatnot, you can always go with lava foot soup and saltrise. This is a max stamina and max recovery food. This will take care of all of your stamina problems, unless you're just not knowing or understanding how to rotate properly. This you'll never run out of stamina with this food on, but it comes at the cost of not having extra health. So you'll be in the 19 to 20k health range. You'll be 4 to 5k less in health, makes you a little bit squishier. There are purple food options like the dubious Camoran Throne, which gives you health, stamina, and stamina recovery, which would probably help. You'll have a lower stamina pool. You won't have as high as health with the Bewitched Sugar Skulls, but you could probably get away with the amount of stamina it provides, the stamina recovery that it provides, and give yourself a little bit more max health in the process. The build itself, we are using Aegis Collar. We have daggers for both. We have one Nirnhoned with a flame damage enchantment on it, and then I have one charged with a poison damage enchantment on it. This is basically just because Update 41's coming, and I've discussed it before. The weapon and spell damage, or the not weapon and spell damage, the poison damage, the poison status effect, excuse me, the poison status effect is going to have like an execute property to it, where the lower the health of the target, the higher that it hits. So I think this is going to be a really good option moving forward once Update 41 hits, because the more you're applying that, the more bonus damage you're getting just from, applying the poison status effect. We are also using. I didn't gold these out because I didn't want to waste the mats on them when I reconstructed everything, because I don't do this stuff on the PTS. I'm doing it all on my PlayStation and using my transmutes for it. So Doing this really wrecks my resources when it comes to it, honestly, but it's what I do. But all of our jewelry is in Bloodthirsty. All of them have weapon and spell damage pots. For anyone not familiar with the Aegis Collar set, this can be found in Unhallowed Grave. It is a medium armor set, and it provides a line of weapon and spell damage, a line of critical, another line of weapon and spell damage. And when you deal critical damage with a martial melee attack, summon a lesser Aegis for 11 seconds. After 2.5 seconds, the Aegis begins to spin its blades, does 2,400 damage, bleed damage per second, and it can occur once every 12 seconds. So you can have a really good uptime on this. And it kind of, I mean, it does really good damage, but it's also great for AoE damage as well when you get boss fights where. When you get boss fights where he's calling out a lot of ads and you got to focus different things, or even in like Infinite Archives where a lot of stuff's there. You know, if you got somebody with you that's able to group things up and this Aegis comes out, it's just a really nice AoE damage on everything it hits, and it can crit, and it crits pretty high, honestly. And being that we are a Nightblade Khajiit, the crits happen a lot. Our second set, we are using Reliquin. This is a set out of Cloud Rest. I'm sure everyone knows at this point. Anyone that's not familiar, it has a line of critical, minor slayer, another line of critical, and your light and heavy attacks apply a stack of harmful winds. The harmful winds deal 278 physical damage per stack every 1 second. This effect can stack every half second up to 10 times and scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. So this is a really, really hard hitting set right here. It does require you to be able to light attack weave properly. If you cannot light attack weave properly, there are different options you can go with here. One would be the set out of Dreadsail Reef, the Coral Riptide set. That one is a very nice set, and its premise is it gives you another, that's 5-piece set is it gives you another 740 weapon and spell damage for your stamina being low up to 100 or up to 740. So the lower your stamina gets, the more of that, the closer you get to that 740, with the maximum being at like 33%. If you are really good at playing that little stamina mini game and keeping yourself in that 33% range for the whole fight, it's probably a better option than the Reliquin because it's going to add a lot of weapon and spell damage and just do a lot more damage. If you're not good at light attack weaving, that's a good option. If you haven't been in trials and you're just looking for something that's kind of like a set and a forget type of set, you can put Pillars and Urn from Falkeith, Falkreath dungeon. It's a nice kind of more single target, but I guess it can be AoE because of the area that it pops from. But it provides damage up front and then does a bleed damage over time, and there's no stipulations to it really. Just as long as you do damage, it procs. There's no percentage chance. You don't have to crit, nothing like that. It's literally just a set and forget. So Pillars and Urn would be a good option here as well. Anzel's Torment, I think that's the name of it. It's the one out of the newest trial, the Sanity's Edge trial. That one has a 5-piece bonus to it where it just basically gives you 7% more damage output. And then if you interrupt something that for 10 seconds, it gives you another 7%, so it's 14%. So it's kind of situational, but even the 7% is just static. There's no real anything to it, so that's also a good option too, just for a flat damage output. I light attack weave really well, so I like the Reliquin, and I don't really like to play that stamina mini game with stamina tunes, so I've chosen Reliquin. I've also chosen Zaun as my headpiece. For people that aren't familiar with it, this is that's still got Magicka on it. I need to change that out. So does that. I need to get those changed. I will. I forgot this was on a Magicka tune before, but missing out on a little bit of stamina because of that. But we'll get that fixed. But regardless, this is a monster helm that You can get the helm from Scale Collar Peak, and you can get the shoulders from Chief Ooglarg or whatever her name is, Oogly Boogly. I can't remember her name, but the orc undaunted lady. You can get the coffer from her to be able to get the shoulder piece for this. The one piece bonus is a 657 critical chance. The two piece bonus is when you deal critical damage, which you do a lot of with this with this Khajiit Nightblade. Uh, with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to tether to your enemy for 10 seconds, as long as you remain within 8 meters of them. Enemies touching the tether, not just who you tethered to, but like you can move this around and catch other things inside that tether. And everything that's within that tether, including the enemy you're tethered to, takes 731 flame damage every 1 second, increasing the tick by 100% each tick. So the damage on it consistently goes up with each tick. Anything it's also touched is hit with the burning status effect. And the burning status effect is a very hard hitting status effect if you don't know. And the the nice thing about this helm is when it procs, every tick refreshes the burning. So you get the burning status effect for the whole duration of the beam of the tether connecting. And then for another 4 seconds after it drops off, that burning is still going as well. So it's a really, really, really heavy hitting monster helm. Does a lot of damage. And you just have to stay within melee range, which as a stamina tune, you're going to do. all of our all of our reliquins are all in medium because that's what it comes in. That's the weight that it's designed in, and all of them have the divine trait for the uh, Mundus Stone effect. I also have my head and shoulders in divines as well, and I have one of these in heavy and one of these in medium. The you can kind of do this as you like. I already had these, so I didn't want to reconstruct them. Yeah, but if you wanted to make well, I need these to be in light too, so that would help out right here. But like the the thing that you probably want to try for most here is the six medium and one light for your most weapon for most of your weapon and spell damage, and for most of your uh, weapon and spell your critical damage as well from your medium armor passives. Uh, this should be a light right here because light would provide me with uh, a little bit more penetration, a tad bit more critical chance. Uh, this is what I had already, so I wasn't going to reconstruct it for the purpose of just making the video. But you definitely should want like these shoulders in light and have it in stamina. Both of them in stamina as well. I have both of these in Magicka, and I'm losing out on like 1200 maximum stamina right here. So champion points real quick, like red and blue trees, you can kind of do what you want. If anything, in the red, I would definitely suggest, if you're having trouble sustaining in like if you go into archives or something like that, like the bloody renewal is really nice for giving you stamina back anytime you kill something at full 50 points in it. It gives you 1500 stamina back for each thing that you kill. That's really nice to help keep your stamina up. But currently, I am running celerity for the movement speed. That is just your own preference. If you want something else there, you obviously could put something else there. But I run rejuvenation for the health, magic, and stamina recovery. I run fortified for a little bit more armor. And I don't have my vitality on. Man, see, I just got everything all messed up here. What did I have on? Pain's Refuge. Yeah, I was messing around and forgot I was messing around in Cyrodiil during the last event right there. So that's going to change some things when we go back out, health-wise at least. Blue tree, we have slotted deadly aim and master at arms. We are very single target oriented. I am using untamed aggression also, and I am using wrathful strikes. If you are not in a very optimized group, or if you're in 4-man content, you can definitely take off untamed aggression and go with either fighting finesse or backstabber. In an organized group, these aren't going to do you very good because it's so easy to get to that crit cap with these with the with a stamina with a Nightblade that is a Khajiit. So these one, if you're a Khajiit, these won't help you out very much, especially in organized groups. But in 4-man content where you're not getting the same type of buffs, that's definitely an option you can take over the untamed aggression. Also, there is the exploiter. If you got somebody in the group that is providing off balance, and you want to, play a little off balance mini game of knowing when off balance happens and kind of bursting during that time, saving your incapacitating strikes for that situation. You can really burst a whole lot of damage right there doing that. So that's an option if you like doing stuff like that. But I like the untamed aggression here. If I go into 4-man content, I will probably, depending on where I go with fighting finesse or backstabber, just because I'm not quite at crit cap when I'm in 4-man content, but these will get me to that crit damage cap. Also, you want to have all your other passives that don't need to be slotted filled in this as well. Green tree, do whatever you want. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be nitpicky about that. All right, skill wise. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. We are using the Maelstrom Perfected Greatsword as well, infused with a weapon and spell damage glyph on it. This makes all of our attacks do up to 560 more damage, which that's what you will get to very easily. It scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage, so you get to that extra 560 points of damage for every direct damage thing that you do. So this is a very, very good option for this build right here. So going over skills, we have Twisted Path. This is just an AoE damage. 12 seconds long, deals 1,360 magic damage to everyone inside of the path, and it gives anyone that's inside of it, including your teammates, major expedition for increasing their movement speed. So while they're in it, they get major expedition, and for 4 seconds after leaving it, they still have major expedition. I'm using Stampede. This is the ability that procs our Maelstrom two-hand weapon. This is just, it's kind of a gap closer, so that's kind of nice. And it's always a critical strike, so that's also nice. And it does damage. It does damage up front. It does damage over time. The damage over time that ticks from this will keep the weapon and spell damage glyph on it active the whole time as well, so you can have a 100% uptime on that weapon and spell damage glyph, and just giving you more weapon and spell damage, obviously. We are using Barbed Trap. This is giving us minor force plus damage up front and a bleed damage. This right now, because of my choice in Khajiit and being a Nightblade, I am when I hit the trial dummy, I'm the extra 10% critical I get from this. I'm over crit cap because of it. So this is kind of if you're using a Khajiit, this doesn't really help you on the trial dummy when it comes to the minor force because you're already at crit cap, but it does still, you do bleed damage, and it it applies the hemorrhaging status effect, which those two things right there are enough for it to do good. Not sure still, like the hemorrhaging status effect is being changed with update 41, so I know like it's not going to tick as high as it did before, and you have to find other ways to get your hemorrhaging status effect to proc, which with certain other things you can do it as well. So we'll have to see what changes with this in update 41. I am using Carve. This is just a pretty much set it and forget it type of type of damage right here. You know, it lasts for 12 seconds. It's not a huge, it does damage up front, doesn't have a whole lot of bleed damage over time. But the nice thing is, if it already has it on there, for each stack it puts on, you put on there, it adds 10 seconds to the duration. So, like when I start my parse off, I'll hit them with this 2 times before bar swapping. I'm already at 22 seconds. So then I can finish off the rest of my rotation, come back, and when I get back to this, there's still a few seconds left on that, and I hit it, and it goes up to 32 seconds. So then, like, it gives me the option to not have to reapply this every rotation, but I still do, to be honest with you, because I don't want it falling off. I have leeching strikes right here just for extra resource management, giving me my stamina back. Um, if you if you're having trouble with stamina, keeping this active will definitely do you very well. Incapacitating strikes on I have this on both bars, mainly because while slotted you gain Reeve, which restores 100 magic and stamina when you deal damage with a light or heavy attack. So it's a nice little bonus passive to the ability to help with your recovery. But this is your huge ultimate right here. You know, it you do a spinning strike dealing 15k disease damage and causing them to take 20% more damage for 8 seconds and stunning them for 3 seconds. So this is yeah, that's a very very heavy hitting ability right there. And it says 120 ultimate, but it's not 120 ultimate. It just says that right now because I'm above 120, so I get this extra bonus from it. But now when we go back in and look at this now, see how like it only costs 70 to cast the ultimate. And if you cast it with 120 or more ultimate, then you get the 3 second stun. So that's why it changed the way it looked and how much the cost of it says. But it's only 70 ultimate, which is really easy to get to, so you can have a really good uptime. I can get one of those ultimates just about every rotation. Now on our front bar, we are using concealed weapon. This is the Magicka version the of this ability right here of the veiled strike. Normally, this would be your main spammable uh, if you were a Nightblade, but the the surprise attack would actually be your main spammable. But rather than use the surprise attack and deal damage with stamina, I chose to go with this morph right here and not use it as a spammable. It still does really good damage, but what it does is when you leave sneak, invisibility, or cast uh, concealed weapon while under the effects of major expedition while in combat, gain major berserk for 7 seconds. Like once I get this leveled up, this tooltip is low right now. I'm just at the very first level of this. When this gets all the way leveled up, this actually turns to 10 seconds of major berserk, increasing your damage by 10%. Plus, while slotted, you gain or minor expedition. So when you pair this with the twisting path right here that I use, when you use that, I'm getting, when that path's down and I hit this concealed weapon, I'm giving myself major berserk for 7 seconds, and when I get this leveled up all the way to full, it'll be giving it to me for 10 seconds. So major berserk, 10% more damage. You can't really beat that. I'm using rapid strikes. This is my main spammable right here. It's very heavy hitting, especially when you use the maelstrom sword plus the major berserk that we're getting from this. It is just it's phenomenal. Honestly, it does a lot of damage. But once again, you are right up in the shit with this ability. Like you cannot. It's hard. You can't attack at range. You have to be close to everything. But with a stamina tune, that's normally the case anyway. We have Killer's Blade. This is our execute. 400% more damage to enemies under 50%. Heals me If the enemy dies within 2 seconds of being struck, that's not that big of a deal in PvE at least, but in PvP, I'm sure that's huge. But this is just the this is your execute. Like, you're not going to use this till you get to, I suggest about the 30% range. You can start really, the killer's blade seems to outperform the rapid strikes around the 30 to 35% range. So 35% and down, whenever you want to start using your killer's blade and skipping the rapid strikes, that's up to you. But when you're getting close to execute phase, this is your main spammable. Relentless Focus. This is a nice little ability when it's slotted on your bar. Your light and heavy attacks generate a stack of Relentless Focus, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 80 up to 5 times. So it's an extra 400 weapon and spell damage when it's at full stacks. When it is at full stacks, if you can choose to just keep the 400 weapon and spell damage, or you can choose to fire it off and reset this thing, start the stack process over again. And when you do that, it shoots a spectral arrow that does a ton of damage, 17,000 damage, and heals you as well. And when this crits and you have all the other bonuses with you, you see this thing hit like a monster. It's very, very heavy hitting. Last but not least, I got Dark Shade on here as well. This is just for some passive damage. I call this out right before the fight starts, and then I just put him back up when he goes away. Like, as he's getting ready to fall off, or right after he falls off, I just reapply him. And incapacitating strikes, once again, we have been over this already. Alright, so the rotation is a little bit different. Like, normally I like to start off with that right there. But I've found that using that and then using my twisting path, I wasn't always getting my major expedition. Like, it was moving me, it was messing with a game mechanic in some way. So my major expedition wasn't always being applied to me when I did it, and therefore I wasn't getting the bonus from the concealed weapon giving me the minor or the major berserk. So what I've done to remedy this is I throw it out first and then do my stampede, and that seems to have quelled the whole issue. At the end of this, I will be attaching a parse on the 21 mil dummy that I hit 103 and some change on. So it's not the 130k, but it's over 100k. So, like, I don't know, I'm happy with that. If a trial group doesn't want you for hitting 100k, then you probably don't need to be in there anyway. They're probably pretty much elitists at that point. But just to kind of show you what exactly I do while, talk you through it for the most part, I'm going to hit this 3 million right here and let you see exactly what it's capable of doing. So when I go into a fight, I'm always putting on my leeching strikes. I'm going to activate my shade, and then I'm just going to run in and start doing damage. I'm going to hit that twice to make sure I get the stacks up. Concealed weapon, bow, drop an ultimate whenever I can. Now we're in execute phase, so we're really going to go at it now. All right, so that parse right there, 45k. No breach, no nothing applied whatsoever. This it was like 3600 penetration, and I hit 45k without any type of breach or any type of, tank assistance or anything like that. And once again, I noticed a few times during that parse that still that major expedition wasn't proccing on me like it should be when I'm casting my ability to give it to myself. So I missed out on some major berserk there for a rotation or two, which is a hit to the damage as well. I don't know. I don't know, how to completely remedy that. I thought I was doing pretty good there with how I had things set up, but I seen it fall off there anyway. So it's just something you got to kind of keep an eye on to make sure that you're got that major expedition when you're using concealed weapon. You can see it on the bottom of your screen, right above your health bar, if you have those little boxes up like I do. And when you see that logo, if you have to see that logo up there, you can hit that concealed weapon, and it'll give you that 7 seconds of major berserk. But I think that's literally all I got for you. I think I went over everything that I needed to. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I appreciate it greatly, and happy adventuring.